right. Hey, good morning. It is the Rise and Grind Morning Show, Tuesday, September 3rd, 2024. Man, we are just 5 short days away from the opening kickoff for your Detroit Lions. We're here with Eric Rintamaki. Good morning.
Hey, how's it going this morning, Will?
Doing great, man. Doing great. Little chilly out. I'm loving the weather. Absolutely loving the weather. We've got a few topics to get to today. We've been working hard here in the lab and trying to get next week's shows ready to rock and roll. So we're bringing all new segments, new graphics, new sound bites, all sorts of things are going to be happening next week. So let me just give you guys an idea, or at least one of the ideas of what we're thinking about doing for next week. And this one's going to be called Boom or Busted Plays of the Week.
Busted.
So we're going to be highlighting which plays of the week were boomed or busted for your Detroit Lions and kind of track it all season long. I think it's going to be a fun little segment for us to do each week post-game. So it'll be the show following post-game. It's going to be fun. That's just one. We also have Dan Gambles of the game. Dan Gambles of the game. So that's going to be another one that we follow each and every week throughout the season. Is Dan going to hit a jackpot on every 4th and go? Or is it going to be 4th and oh shit or oh no? We'll find out every week following the post game. That show is going to be loaded with a lot of fun. So working on a few things. I've got a whole bunch more, including did Jake Bates sleep at a Holiday Inn last week? Well, that's not the one that's supposed to play, but did he sleep at a Holiday Inn before the game? Is he ready to go? We'll find out if Jake Bates is able to hit those 64-yarders to help these Detroit Lions win. So all these things coming to you guys all next week. I'm ready for it, man. I think we're going to have a lot of fun, Eric. What do you think?
Yeah, it's going to be a blast, and we're going to bring some new things. We're working on some new ideas, and this is my first real season in the podcast, so this is going to be a blast. I can't wait.
Yeah, the season is much different. So the off season, you really got to dig deep to find some topics. You really do. It is so hard to maintain. I mean, you kind of just talk in redundancy, it seems like it. But to maintain, I try to do good work, but it's tough. I mean, I've only been doing this for a little over a year now. And to figure it all out season by season, you kind of get into a groove. This season, I'm hoping it's better than last season. And we'll find out, starting next week, just how good it can be. But right away, let's get into a couple of news topics today. First and foremost, let's highlight Ricky Pearsall. Okay. This was a tragic, absolute tragic news that broke last week. And it is so great to hear that when the projectile, I guess is what I'll use, entered and exited, it missed all of his vital organs. And he's in a good spot, released from the hospital. And the robbery attempt obviously was failed. Ricky fought, and good for him. So he's going to be out at least 4 weeks. They're talking probably a little bit longer, but at least 4 weeks. But you know what? For him, I think that those are going to be the most humbling 4 weeks he's ever had in his life, to just realize that he's here on this planet, ready to play football again and ready to see his family again each and every day after something like that happened. There is no place for violence. I keep saying this every year, and every year we have some things that pop up, but there's no place for violence, not only in football, but to be honest with you, anywhere. And this type of crap it's just got to stop. I know it's not going to. There's always going to be those days that surprise you, right? It's just how you handle it. But there's also going to be those days where people just do dumb things. And this is one of them. So big congratulations to Ricky Pearsall, making his way out of the hospital, living to play football again another day. Any comments from you on that, Eric?
Yeah, so I watched this e-bike channel about this guy called Shoot the Chit, CHIT. And he actually put out a video yesterday, and he rode through that intersection where Ricky Pearsall had that encounter with that kid. And it's a nice neighborhood. It's in front of a bank. It's in San Francisco. It's not like it's some down in the dumps dumpster place, you know. It's not the ghetto, it's not the hood. So he wasn't in the wrong place. He just happened to be in a nice area where this 17-year-old kid thought he could go rob somebody of their watch, you know, and that's what he was trying to do. He was trying to steal his Rolex. And so I thought that was kind of a neat perspective to get it from an e-bike channel, that, hey, this is where Ricky Pearsall got robbed the other day, you know, and to actually see it, you know, kind of a 360 in person of where it happened. It's a really nice neighborhood where it happened. It wasn't like he was off in the ghetto trying to get drugs or something. So I think Ricky Pearsall didn't do anything wrong whatsoever.
Yeah, not to say that Ricky would do anything like that, but yeah, just right place, wrong time, or wrong time, wrong place, however you want to frame it.
Yeah.
At least he's okay. I think that's the best news to take away from this, is that he's okay. So shout out to everybody in the chat. Of course, we rolled our member shout outs this morning. I can't appreciate you guys enough for all of your support. Over 58 members as of last night, 58 members of the channel. And we literally just launched memberships 10 days ago. So excellent work. I know a lot of memberships have been gifted, and super appreciate all the work that the current members do. So who do we have in here this morning? We, of course, have Uper Lights. We got Michael Garrity, DLR Van Halen, Broski Bear, Trace, Roger Chappis. I think I said Peter Van Larhoven. We got Ryan Van Valkenburg. We got Mike P, Derek W, and Dave Scott, Rob Brown, Steve K, all members of the channel. Appreciate you guys. You guys are awesome. Thank you for being a part of the Rocked On Podcast Network, Rocked On Detroit Lions. Truly the best sponsors and supporters of this channel is everybody. I mean, whether you're watching, tuning in, listening, whatever you're doing to consume this content, you guys are all a big part of what we do. And there's no sponsorship level too small, right? And that's just simply liking the content, sharing the content, showing up and listening to the content. All of it matters, and I appreciate every bit of it, no matter what you guys are able to do. So moving forward here, there's a few other things that I wanted to talk about kind of right off the get-go here. There's 3 headlines that I want to get to this morning. I didn't do a roster because I'm in the works of creating all new graphics, and it's a lot of work. So no roster lineup today. So we'll be just kind of a little bit walking back and forth kind of over top of everything. So we got Lions Talk by Chat Sports. We got Mike Kimber's in the house. Good morning, Mike Kimber. How you doing? Appreciate you joining us this morning. We got a few other non-members in the house. We got Benjamin Welmers. That's a new name. Haven't seen that one before. We got Mike the Marine Gunny. Who else in here? Fred Pearson, Angela Gore. We got Bucky in the house. King SJ.
How is Bucky not a member?
I'm not sure. We got J Mommy in the house. Angela Gore again. Who else? Elizabeth LaValle. Good morning. And Shane Smith. And if there's anybody else I miss, it's not by purpose. It's just we're going to be getting through today's segments pretty quickly. Do us a favor, like the stream. It really helps us to get out there and get to more fans. It helps us with the algorithm. You guys know that this is the original channel that started the no ads every live stream for Lions content. We do that because we care about you. We do that. We want to give you a seamless interaction for your Lions news. It doesn't mean that other channels that don't do that are, any worse off for it. It's just is what it is. We just decided to do that so that you didn't have to pay for YouTube Premium to get no ads. And then, of course, after the show, obviously ads will kick in. But we spend the money up front to make sure that you guys don't have to do that. And appreciate you just liking the stream and sending us out in the algorithm to earn some more fans. That's the goal, to earn some more audience members. And we've been pushing over 100 likes now for 10, 12, 11 days in a row. 11 days in a row. So that's really good for our channel, especially a growing channel. But 3 headlines right away. Packers leapfrog the Lions in the NFC North. I figured I'd get Eric off and running this morning with some Packers information. But according to The Athletic, Dan Campbell and company won the hearts of football fans last season by going from perennial basement dwellers to kneecap biting to teeth kicking and now NFC North contenders. But this season, in my opinion, we're Super Bowl contenders. What a quick turnaround, right? 34-31 loss to San Francisco in the NFC Championship game cost the Lions a trip to the Super Bowl last season. And now expectations are through the roof for the Lions. And not just the Lions. Brad Holmes has made it very clear. It's a Super Bowl. Dan Campbell has made it very clear. Of course, we want a Super Bowl, but now we're not even going to talk about it. We're going to go be about it. We're going to go do it. The work starts now. You know, it's already started, but you get the point here. The work starts now. It's what we do every single week that'll help us get there. But according to some of these other people around the league, don't just crown Detroit Lions the NFC North winners just yet. They're thinking that the Packers were the hottest team to end the season and are the hottest team currently. So Jordan Love, according to this article, arrived as a bona fide franchise quarterback by just performing in 8 games last season. 8, not 17, not 20, not 21, 8. 8 games. So look for Green Bay to continue its ascension this season. Love will garner MVP consideration as he and his talented young targets continue to flourish in Matt LaFleur's offense, and then new running back Josh Jacobs brings a sorely lacking workhorse element, and new defensive coordinator Jeff Hafley will infuse his unit with life. Not only will the Packers overtake the Lions as division champions, that ain't happening. They just might find themselves contending for a trip to New Orleans for the Super Bowl. You guys already know I'm voting down hardcore on this. It ain't happening. Sorry. I mean, it was a great thought while it lasted, but yeah, not happening. So, Eric, I'll let you have your due diligence here.
All right.
And tell us what you think.
So 2 things. Do you remember the other day when you showed that video with Shannon Sharp talking to the guys on, I think it was ESPN, and good old Shannon Sharp there was talking about how the Lions had no expectations last year, and this year they're all full of expectation, and can they live up to the expectations? Well, last year we had all the expectations. We were expected to win the North and win a playoff game. What did we do? We won the North. We won a playoff game. We did exactly what we set out to do. Okay. And then we did more. We won 2 playoff games, and then we almost won the 3rd. And if Green Bay would have lived up to their expectations and won that NFC divisional game against San Fran, then they would have been coming to Detroit to get their butt kicked by the Detroit Lions, and it would have happened. There's no way they would have came into Ford Field and beat us in the NFC Championship game. Wouldn't have happened, in my opinion. Okay. Now, number 2, yesterday I was browsing the internet and I saw a bunch of preseason Super Bowl predictions. ESPN, Sports Illustrated, and PFF all put out their Super Bowl winner predictions. And then I listened to another one on 97.1 The Ticket. And all 4 of them had the Lions winning the Super Bowl or going to the Super Bowl. All of them. And I didn't see a single one where anyone is picking the Packers to go to the Super Bowl. None. Nowhere. And in fact, this one that they were talking about on the radio was done by ESPN, and they simulated the season 20,000 times. And you want to know what it came up with? It came up with the Lions getting 13 wins, being the number 1 seed, winning the NFC, going to the Super Bowl versus the Kansas City Chiefs, and in the 4th quarter being down by 14 points and coming back in the 4th quarter, going for 2 instead of going for overtime, getting the 2-point conversion and winning the game. So listen, we're getting a lot of hype, but you know what? It's well-deserved hype. And the Lions are going to do something they've never done before. The Lions are going to go to the Super Bowl this year. So people need to get used to that thought. Now, Dan Campbell came out yesterday and said, that's it. No more Super Bowl talk. Now we're talking about each week with his team yesterday. Now he wants everyone to focus on that week and that week only. We're not worried about Super Bowl talk anymore. We got that out of the way. We talked about the Super Bowl in the preseason. Now it's time to talk about each week. So maybe I need to shut my trap and start talking about the Rams.
Yeah, maybe not. I mean, I don't know. I guess, for me, I think that, by the way, that's all great information too. I think that the Packers aren't just going to roll away. I don't think that they're just going to wither away, I guess I should say, and not have a decent season. But again, I've got to see it. We watched Jared Goff now for 3 seasons, and where he began and where his trajectory has brought him. And there's a reason why you can trust a quarterback like Jared Goff. I don't know that the same can be said about Jordan Love after half a season. They're not going to win with another quarterback in Green Bay. They don't even have another quarterback, in my opinion, in Green Bay that can do anything. So I don't believe it. I don't believe in the hype. I'm not saying that again, the Green Bay is going to wither away, but I just think that we've seen when Jordan Love gets rattled, he makes very bad decisions. All you have to do is go back to week 4 of last season. That's all you have to do is go back and watch that game. And that's who Jordan Love is when he's under pressure. So if they haven't fixed their offensive line, and if they can't keep Jordan Love from getting massive amounts of pressure, it's not going to be a great season for them, especially against the Detroit Lions. If we stay healthy throughout this season and end up being as dominant as we should be up front, and then our defensive backs play the way that we know that they should be able to. Everyone just has to stay healthy. I'm not going to mince words with it, but they have to stay healthy. New follower this morning. So Lanner X420X found the show yesterday. Glad to have found it, and we're glad that you did. Hopefully, we're able to be found a little bit easier now when you search up Detroit Lions. Obviously, the name of the channel for the first year didn't help growth, but still hit about 5,000 subscribers in the first year or so. So I guess it's not terrible. People found us eventually. So yeah, if you guys could send us the likes, it obviously keeps the ads off, but I need to get to a sponsor. It is already 8:22 in the morning.
Every day, thousands of people are discovering Uper Lights, Michigan's newest, funnest rock to go find on the shores of the Great Lakes. Don't go out with just any light. Try the Convoy C8 from uperlights.com. It's guaranteed for life, and you'll find all the ones everyone else misses. Quality UV lights that are perfect for Uper Lights with prices starting as low as $20. Please make sure to visit uperlights.com for all your UV flashlight needs with the best guarantees on the market. Just what you wanted and not what you didn't. The best quality, the best guarantees, and the best UV flashlights from uperlights.com.
All right. Always appreciate Uper Lights. Not only a co-host of the show, but has an awesome business up north for all of your rock hounding needs, and online, of course, at uperlights.com. The next topic, the next headline of the day, which this one I can agree with, and I think that there's reasons for it that we're going to spell out here. Your San Francisco 49ers suffer Super Bowl hangover. I like this topic because I think that the 49ers are going to find themselves potentially in a regression year. Look, they've been going hard for like the last 5 seasons. They've been at the top for the last 5 seasons. They just can't get over on the other side of the mountain and hoist that Lombardi. But I think this year they've had a little bit too much when it comes to, what do you want to call it? The continuity kind of falling apart. So the article reads this. It says there's plenty to like about the 49ers. John Lynch and Kyle Shanahan have rebuilt one of the league's most storied franchises into a first-class operation. That I would definitely agree with. So if any team can shake off the effects of a heartbreaking overtime loss in Super Bowl, what was the Super Bowl? What was the number last year? What was that? 40? No, what was it? 50? 53? 58? What was it? Do you remember?
I don't remember.
I don't remember either.
But it went to overtime.
Anyway, heartbreaking overtime loss in the Super Bowl. But it's the 49ers, right? Or wrong? It's not because their leading wide receiver, Brandon Ayuk, missed all of training camp, or is it? Because of the contract dispute, because of everything that transpired this offseason, I would say that that's a big reason why. Even though it's been resolved, that does not mean that time, building the continuity again this season wasn't needed. But missing a chance to further his connection with Brock Purdy, I feel like that's a big detriment to this offense. Now you still have Debo, right? You still have CMC. They still have plenty of George Kittles. You got the George Kittles of the world on this team. They've got plenty of weapons, but they're expecting Brandon Ayuk to be that number one dog. And now it maybe for these top, wide receivers, maybe it's just like riding a bike. Maybe they just jump right on and they just start pedaling away and it's like nothing ever happened. But I think that there's something to be said here. That going through the challenge of every summer's training camp together and building that bond and that brotherhood and redeveloping, the connections and everything that you had the season before, I think that means something. Maybe I'm wrong. I don't know. But he didn't rebuild that connection with Brock Purdy. The other issue, they had another holdout. Still do, I believe. Trent Williams. He's been a holdout all summer. Wants a contract. Wants a new contract extension. Williams is a huge piece of the 49ers' success in the pass and the run game, obviously. Hell, he's even been touted as a better tackle than Penei Sewell. I don't think so. Come on. Get real. There's a big drop-off, obviously, when Williams is not in the game. I mean, that's expected. So that's the take, right? That the 49ers are going to suffer a little bit of Super Bowl hangover. I mean, haven't they had Super Bowl hangover quite a bit the last 5 years? Or NFC Championship game hangover. I mean, you name it. They get there and then they just can't get over. So why? That's the question. And then you had the Ricky Pearsall thing. That could actually give them some great motivation. I hate to take negativity and turn it into positivity, but that's what life's about. You take the negative, you turn it into positive. So there's some good things that have happened too, right? But I think that when you have these issues on a team, it can ruin the team. So what are your thoughts, Eric?
Yeah, I'm thinking that this whole Trent Williams thing might blow up in their face because he's already said he's willing to sit out at least 2 weeks and possibly more over this contract dispute. And listen, if he sits out, what's to say the Jets don't take a win from him on Monday night? So, hey, that's the one position I wouldn't be messing with is left tackle because
you think,
in my opinion, Brock Purdy isn't the best quarterback in the world. He's serviceable, but he's not this world beater that the 49er fans make him out to be.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I didn't mean to cut you off there. So there's a couple of things about quarterbacks that you can kind of make the same argument for a lot of different quarterbacks, right? And I think that's the argument that people make for Jared Goff as well. When you're surrounded by a bunch of capable offensive weapons, a lot of them. I mean, if anyone has as many as the Lions do, it's the 49ers. Kittle, Ayuk, Debo, CMC. You got 4 weapons right there. And Brock Purdy has some legs, and he's got a pretty damn good arm. So, and then he's surrounded by a pretty decent offensive line. I mean, Trent Williams, obviously the anchor, but it's a pretty solid offensive line. So when you make the argument, you say that he's not a world beater or whatever. Yeah, by himself, I don't think that he is. I mean, he was Mr. Irrelevant at one point, and now he's grown with a team to be one of the better quarterbacks in the NFL. But is it circumstantial? And I know people are going to say the same thing about Jared Goff.
Yes.
It's all circumstantial because of what he has in front of him, to the left of him, to the right of him, behind him, and so on and so forth. And
Listen,
I get it.
The Lions and San Fran are built very, very similar.
Yeah.
They're very identical type teams. So just imagine for a second that Penei Sewell is in a contract dispute with the Lions and threatening to sit out the first 2 weeks of the season. How worried would you be right now if we had to put Manu in or Skipper in at right tackle?
So the only thing that makes this better, I think, for the 49ers is potential deal that's going to get done. Could be today, could be tomorrow, could be tonight. But Trent Williams is potentially getting close on a deal. I haven't heard. I've seen some of the things in the chat talking about Trent's already reported to practice. I haven't seen that yet.
Oh, he hasn't practiced once.
Yeah, I haven't seen that. So, I mean, some of the news articles from this morning just said that the deal is likely to get done today. I don't know that he's going to practice without a deal, because if he let's just put it this way: if he shows up to practice and he rolls an ankle, that deal is now done. They will not do it. If he's going to be out 6-8 weeks because he sprained an ankle or whatever, or God forbid something else, well, that contract is up in smoke. And Trent Williams is probably going to be, let go or something. They'll probably do something to try to figure out a way to move on from this, or he just plays as is. That's where I don't think that he's going to report early without a contract being done. I could be wrong, but I think that's kind of been the same mantra with the other contracts, right? Brandon Ayuk was the same way. Didn't want to practice. Jordan Love, same way. Didn't want to practice. Didn't want to get hurt while a contract negotiation was going on. Who didn't you see that from? The Lions.
Yeah.
You know why? Because those guys, I mean, they are in lockstep together. The Lions are a solid team from every letter in the word, man. They are. They are in one direction together. And I think that's what is going to be the difference this year. Now, I will toot my own horn for just a second. I have to today. I've been saying that the Lions are going to win the Super Bowl in 2024 now for 2 years. And I said it often last year. Now, when they made it all the way to the NFC Championship game, I thought, well, that's just great. I'll take a Super Bowl any year. I don't care about being right. I care about going to the party. That's all I care about. But it didn't happen. And now you're starting to see this season where a lot of what I was expecting to happen is happening. They rebuilt the back end of the defense. They rebuilt the front of the defense. They continue to get better on offense. Now it's starting to line up. Same coaches. Don't get rid of Aaron Glenn. Let him continue doing what he's doing, just with better pieces. Now it's all starting to come together. If you guys have been watching this channel for a long enough time, you'll know that last year I called all 5 of the Lions' first draft picks. This year I called a couple of draft picks, Levi Onwuzurike being one of them too. I don't get a ton wrong. I get a lot more right than I do wrong. I did pretty well in the 53-man roster this year and the practice squad. So I'm hoping I'm not wrong on this one, I guess is what I'm trying to say. I'm not trying to just throw a bunch of crap in your face. I just hope I'm not wrong on this one too, because I want to see the Lions win the Super Bowl. Absolutely. And I think that this is the year that we can do it. The next subject, our next headline of the day: Patrick Mahomes leads the Chiefs to Super Bowl history. Sorry, it's not happening. I'm just going to apologize right now. I'm not apologizing. I got no apologies for the Chiefs. Do you really think the Chiefs are going to run it back and do a three-peat, something that's never been done? And you know what? To speak on that, Eric, I had no idea that the team never three-peated. I thought for sure the 49ers did, or, the Patriots did in their heyday. I thought for sure a team had three-peated at least once in their, in the history of the NFL. But we're talking Super Bowl era too, not championship era. So
there's been a few back-to-back champions, but none of them have ever gotten back to the third Super Bowl in the third year.
And guess what? It's not going to happen this year, but I'm going to go ahead and read the article. Here's what it says. It says it took us forever to learn to never bet against Tom Brady, so let's not make the same mistake twice. There's no betting against Mahomes here. As long as Mahomes is in his prime, he always gives the Chiefs a chance to win it all. It's true that no team has won 3 Super Bowls in a row, but Mahomes is that good, and Andy Reid, Steve Spagnuolo, and Brett Veach are just as good at their jobs when it comes to equipping, supporting, and building around their prized quarterback. Last season's title defense run felt laborious at times for the Chiefs, but at crunch time, Mahomes, shout out to Crunch Time Sports, by the way, Mahomes and company were at their best. This Kansas City team may actually prove better than last season's squad. Mahomes has an improved cast of wide receivers. They whittled down from 14. He still has Travis Kelce, and the run game seems destined for greater effectiveness. Meanwhile, Chris Jones still anchors a defense that has steadily retooled and reloaded and now is among the best in the league. The other 3 AFC West teams are in rebuilding stages, and while the Cincinnati Bengals and Baltimore Ravens could threaten the Chiefs' quest, it's too hard to bet against number 15. I would love to say that I could pick this apart, but I can't. And the part that I can't pick apart is that they got better, because they did. They stayed together, which is critical. But there's one definitive thing here that reigns true for old Patty Mahomes. Without Travis Kelce, there is no Super Bowl run. If Travis Kelce is hurt this season at all, especially late in the season, forget about it. It ain't happening. He cannot win without Travis Kelce. As much as they make all of this about Patrick Mahomes, I hope that they're not intentionally throwing shade at Kelce, because Kelce has been the real reason, in my opinion, why the Chiefs have been so good. A tight end as good as Kelce is a very improbable thing to have happen to a team. The Lions just had it happen last year with Sam Laporta. And if you think that our success last season was just because of Jared Goff, or just because of David Montgomery, or just because of Amon-Ra St. Brown, you better take a look at 87. Because the tight end position is extremely difficult, number one, and it's extremely difficult to find great talent. But it seems like the teams that have the really good tight ends are really good teams. Just a secret. Sorry. So without Kelce, it ain't happening. I promise you that. If he's injured at all this season, it ain't happening. If Chris Jones goes down on that defense, it ain't happening. And you could say the same about the Lions. You absolutely could. But I think we're a little bit different than some of these teams. Yep, Jahmyr Gibbs could go down. We still have Demo. We don't have one running back. We have 2. Brock Wright, he's no slouch. Now, he's not a Travis Kelce, right? But I think you're going to see him get more involved as needed. Amon-Ra St. Brown goes down. Well, this is J-Mo's time to shine. J-Mo can be a number 1 in this league if he can put it all together. So I think the Lions are in a much better position that if they lose players for a period of time this season, you're going to see them continue to motor on, man. The way the Motor City, just keeps on motoring. Every single year. The city just thrives. And the way the city has bounced back from irrelevance and bankruptcy, the Lions are roaring back into the season and ready to finally get their first Super Bowl. So I'm sorry, I just don't see it happening for Kansas City. Matter of fact, I went out on a limb and said that Kansas City's not even going to make the playoffs this year. I know that's crazy.
That's
and
crazy.
They probably will. They probably will, but I just don't see them. I don't see them. Even if they do make the playoffs, I don't see them getting past the first round. Go ahead, Eric.
Yeah. You with the Chiefs is kind of like me with the Packers. I just don't believe.
Yeah.
Seriously, it even more than just my hatred for the Packers. I just don't see it. Other people see it because of what happened for 8 games. I just don't see it. The The Chiefs, though, me personally, I just can't count them out. You know, I think they will make the playoffs. I think they will win that division again. Andy Reid has some kind of black magic mojo where he has figured this out. He's made a deal with the devil. He's done whatever he needs to do. But man, somehow, some way, in this time of equality with all of the NFL teams, with the, you know, all of them having the same amount of money to spend and free agency and everything else, somehow he mixes his kettle full of stuff and he mixes up the right recipe every year and gets his team back to the Super Bowl. How he does it, I don't know. But I think Andy Reid knows some black magic and he's got it kicking, and for now it's working for him.
I don't know if I believe in all the black magic stuff, but yeah, it sounds fun. All right. Let's switch over here to a piece of news. Maybe it's newsworthy. Lions fans react in a big way when the Detroit Lions released a little picture.
Yeah.
Little picture that showed that the what did that say again? Where was it? I just had it.
It said game on.
Yeah, game on. There we go. It said game on, and the Lions were dressed in their blacks. I think it was Amon-Ra St. Brown.
Yep.
Are the Lions opening up the season in the black jerseys?
I hope so. I hope we have a blackout.
I'm bringing all three.
Well, I have my custom Terrion Arnold Sub-Zero number 0 black Lions jersey. Me and Dylan will be the only two people in the stadium with black Terrion Arnold jerseys because they're not even released yet. I had to custom order them.
So, I mean, that would be great if the Lions open the season here in the black jerseys and the alternate helmets. Now, I think they only get to wear them 3 times in any given season, so I hope that they at least save one for the Super Bowl. I would love to see the Lions wearing the new blacks in the Super Bowl. But you'll probably see it on the Monday night game. You'll probably see it on, potentially on a Thursday night game. But you could see it to open the season. Now, traditionally, we've always worn the blueberries to open a season. I'm not sure that they will venture far away from what's been known as history in Detroit, but could happen. It could. We'll find out in just about 5 days.
But wouldn't you think, though, if they were going to do it for real, that they would have an official announcement at least a few days before the game so they can sell more jerseys?
Possibly. I mean, the biggest problem is they just haven't had them. They haven't had the material. So when I was there at the preseason game, they were actually doing customs right then and there. And they were stamping them out. They don't have the stitched ones. They're just doing the press-ons like you normally buy. But yeah, they were doing them right then and there. So that was good to see, because last year I tried to get a custom and they didn't have any material because they were switching jerseys. So I wanted to get a Laporta made for my dad, a white Laporta jersey, which I'm just going to probably end up getting him a new white Laporta. I got him a Barry Sanders one in the black, but yeah. So they're still doing customs in-house, which is fun because you can do what you guys want to do with your name on the back. I have a custom black rocked on jersey that it should be coming hopefully soon. I wish it would be ready for week 1, but it's not going to be.
Yeah.
I should have just got one when I was there at the preseason game. So next up, injury update. So on Mondays, Wednesdays, Fridays, I'll be doing injury updates. Yesterday, Dan Campbell came to the podium and he basically said that outside of Iffy, who's the only one that's really iffy at this moment, everybody else is good. And my jaw hit the floor. Like, what is he talking about? Everyone else is good. Well, it's everyone else that isn't on IR, obviously. You guys know that. But my biggest question here has been DJ Reader. Now, they elevated DJ Reader to come up, and make the 53-man roster without an injury designation. There's been a lot of talk that he's going to play week 1 or at least be ready week 1. Here's what I want to really know. Like, where is he at? I want a full detail here, and I don't think we're going to see it until the official injury report on Friday afternoon comes out. And quite honestly, the real one that's 90 minutes or so before the game on Sunday is going to tell us who's in, who's out, and how well they're doing. If DJ Reader's going to get in this game at all, it's not going to be an entire game. I can't imagine that they're going to put him in an entire game. But I would love to see him get a few snaps. So I'm not gonna hold my breath that he's able to go full go. But I think that he'll get in at least situationally so we can see how well he does. But man, am I worried. I am so worried about DJ Reader coming back this soon. I know that he's been out now, so he went down in October of last year. So he's had 11 months, and this is like a 9-month recovery process. And then he had to clean up in June. So even if you go another 2 months after that, for, a little R&R, a little rehab, I mean, he's there. I mean, it's September now. He's there. I just get worried, man. I get worried because of what happened with Mosley. That's why I get worried. I hope that the Lions don't make that same mistake or have that same issue, because DJ Reader is going to be a big part of why this Lions team is able to go deep this year, deeper, in my opinion, than we did last year. And what I mean by that is more dominant wins, being able to, I don't think the Lions are going to have to score buckets of points to win games because the defense is going to be so much better. But the defense is also going to give us opportunity to score more points with winning the turnover margin, which is huge, in my opinion, for every game. You have to win the turnover margin. And with DJ Reader in there, all of those little measurables and KPIs, performance indicators, all that stuff starts to go up. So I'm excited to see him hit the field, but I'm a little reserved. Anything you want to mention on that?
I would say this. I would not be surprised to see DJ Reader out there for the first play on defense and announced as a defensive starter and in the game, listed as the starter for week 1. Now, I'm not going to say that he's going to play the whole game. Maybe he goes out for one play. Maybe he goes out for one series, gets his feet wet. But think of the crowd reaction just to having him out there for a little bit, even if he doesn't play the whole game. All right. And Taylor Decker's already came out and said he wants to see the sound record broken again for Ford Field. And he believes it's going to happen this Sunday. And I'm going to do everything I can in my power to make it happen. I'm going to scream my guts out. I'm going to clap my hands till they bleed. And I'm going to make as much noise as humanly possible. So just imagine DJ Reader coming out for a few plays. I think it would be awesome. And seeing him get announced. Hopefully they do the defense this week. That would be a whole lot of fun to see DJ Reader come running out onto the field and everybody's eyes be big as, saucers. So it'd be pretty cool, I think, to have him out there. Even if he doesn't play the whole game, let's get his feet wet. Let's get him started. Absolutely.
So next up, let's talk conversely along the defensive line as to who is going to help, just in case DJ Reader's not able to go, the entire length. And that is Levi O.
Mm-hmm.
So a lot of talk about Levi O being back and here to stay. Lions believe that Levi Onwuzurike's strength and power is here to stay. So, I finally had, and maybe I just missed this over the last year or so, but I read an article where they actually spoke to what he had done to his back, and it's the same exact surgery that I had. So he had an L5 to S1 fusion. And if anybody knows what that's like, it's not fun. Like, matter of fact, I'm still, my surgery failed. So I'm dealing with things each and every day. Legs just randomly cramp. I could just be sitting talking to you. And the next thing, I'm flopping like a fish out of water. It's not fun. It sucks. It's painful. And if everything goes right, things can still just go wrong because your body doesn't like it. Your body rejects it, whatever. You could do everything right and it still goes wrong. I think the benefit that Levi has had is he has top-notch medical staff. And he's been able to battle back, which now I understand why it's taken him so long. But I got to tell you, I am not confident. I'm not trying to throw Levi under a bus or anything. I'm just not confident when a player has this kind of a surgery that you can bank on it. And what I mean by that is, I mean, these things, I mean, they can change in a second. One wrong twist and it just will cause you a ton of pain. You know what I mean? You'll get a shooting sensation running down your leg. And when that happens, I mean, it like totally takes over your body and like your leg just goes limp. So while he's pushing and pushing and pushing, you get a shooter and, we're talking, nerves here, shooting pain with the nerves. That leg goes limp and he's done. He's done. He's going to be on his back. And then if he folds and then he's on his back, well, he can re-injure himself. So I don't have a ton of confidence in any player, not just Levi, that have these kind of surgeries because you just never know. But the lion in me says Levi is going to be just fine. And Levi is going to come ready to play this Sunday. But according to this article, it says defensive lineman Levi Onwuzurike was one of the Detroit Lions' biggest training camp standouts this summer. Being fully healthy for the first time in his NFL career, the fourth-year pro showcased tremendous versatility in camp. He played all along the defensive line, regularly taking snaps next to the fellow 2021 draft pick Ali McNeil at defensive tackle in the Lions' base defensive sets. Onwuzurike also saw time at both nose tackle and as a big defensive end. Man, seeing Levi out there as a big defensive end, that would be fun. It was a major development for the University of Washington product, who has played in just 26 games through his first 3 NFL seasons. According to Dan Campbell, this is what he had to say. This has been since spring. He came in and he clearly looked better. He looked healthy. He's big. He's strong. And then training camp with pads, whatever this has been, 30 days, hard, heavy work, live days, you name it. And there's no indication that this is not holding up. He looks just as strong and powerful as ever. I think it's here to stay. So nothing's going to tell me that it's not. And that's really been the holdback in his body, trusting his body. And then once his body's going to hold up, now he's been able to bank the reps. That's all great. And I hope that for Levi, that it does hold up, because we do need Levi to be the guy that he showed us in his rookie season, which he can be dominant. I mean, this guy just kind of came out of left field in his rookie season. Very surprising in what he did early on. And then his back injury started to creep up and it got worse, obviously required surgery. But again, according to Dan Campbell, Levi has continued to grow and get better as a football player because now he's got everything that God gave him he can use. So he's in a good place right now. And yeah, I think he's very much going to be part of this. He's one of those pieces. I think that when it comes time to closing the pocket down on the quarterback, I think he's one of those guys. I really do. Close quote there on Dan Campbell. So look, man, we're going to need everybody, right? It takes a community to help a community. It takes a full team to win a championship. And Levi is going to be needed. I'm wishing nothing but the best for Levi because I've been through it myself. I know how difficult it is, but I would never know how difficult it is to play football after that type of a surgery. And after what I've gone through, like, this dude has got balls of steel. Like, for Levi to even have confidence to step out there in pads after this kind of a surgery, man, that takes balls of steel. So big shout out to Levi. I'm glad he's healthy. Let's get after it on Sunday night. Eric, take it away.
So I've also heard from Dan Campbell's press conference yesterday that the Lions only have 52 people on the roster. And he talked about it, and it gives them a little bit of flexibility to move someone up from the practice squad or bring someone in a free agent, whatever have you, a trade, whatever they want to do. So the entire playbook is open to them to do whatever they want to do. They can bring someone in. They can bring someone off the practice squad. They can bring up Tim Patrick. They can bring up Kyle Pecco, whatever they want to do. So he said it's going to take 24 to 48 hours to get a little bit of clarity. So hopefully by tomorrow, and tomorrow is Wednesday, they will know what they're going to do with this 53rd spot, whether they're going to elevate someone, bring someone in, what they need to do. And I think the one position that they are worried about, that they're thinking about with this spot, is most likely Kyle Pecco coming off of the practice squad. And it's all going to depend on the health of DJ Reader and Levi O. And because right now Broderick Martin's on the PUP list for 4 weeks minimum, might be more. And so we're missing a few people, especially if DJ Reader can't go week 1. We need a few people to step up. We're going to have some second and third stringers step up and do something. And we haven't seen any of these guys. None of them played in the preseason. We didn't see Pecco. We didn't see Levi O. We did see some Paschal. And we did see a little bit of the rookie there, Wingo. But the rest of these guys, they didn't play.
Yeah, so Peter Van Larhoven asked the question, Will, what are your thoughts on Pecco? I just can't believe he wasn't brought back to be on the 53. And I think that's exactly where the Lions are going to go this week. I said it, after cut day. And I expected Kyle Pecco to be part of this team. And I also expected him to be part of this team on the practice squad at a minimum. But I had him on the roster. So, our rosters kind of got blew up a little bit. Mine, not a whole lot. I think I hit on 50 out of 53 or 49 out of 53. And then the entire practice squad. Everybody that didn't make my roster made the practice squad. Kyle Pecco not making the initial 53. I think that when you look at a few of these older statesmen that are on the Lions vet squad, there's some handshake deals here, right? I'm not signing with another team. As long as you promise that you're bringing me back, I'm coming back. And I think that a lot of those deals happen around the league. I can't say definitively that I know that because I don't. I'm kind of just guessing here that you've got these handshake deals, under the table deals that, and there's nothing wrong with it. These guys are vets. They're free agents. They can do whatever they want. They don't have to sign with anybody. They don't have to talk to anybody. They can do whatever. They can retire if they want to retire. But for these deals to happen behind the scenes gives your Lions confidence in how they can manage their roster. So they've brought it down to 52, which, this really blew my mind. I have never seen a team do this intentionally, where they're opening the season. It goes back to Brad Holmes. The dude's a positional villain, right? Just like he is with the roster. He's a complete villain. You're supposed to cut to 53, Brad, and you cut to 52. Who does that, Brad Holmes? Why does Brad Holmes do that? Because they're going to be flexible. They need flexibility for week 1. Now, who is that position going to be left open for? I think that there's 2 positions, but I think that Kyle Pecco is the guy, or Pico, however you say his name. I think that he's probably in slot number 1 to come back, to give us that extra strength on the defensive line, just in case a DJ Reader or a Levi O has a problem in game. But it could also be your X wide receiver. It could be, does Tim Patrick or A-Rob make this roster on week 1? So I think those are probably the 2 positions. Now, I could be completely wrong here, but I think that those are the 2 positions that they're leaving positional flexibility open for. The Lions would most love to have an X wide receiver on this roster. We are now back to being one of the shortest wide receiver rooms in the league, back to where we were in 21 and 22. And that's not a great place to be. Now, it doesn't mean that we don't have players that can make plays, but we are lacking in stability on the outside. We don't have a big body receiver. And sometimes you need that. that means that Sam Laporta is going to have to play a more important role, in some of these swing routes and some of these out routes and getting open for some of these things that a bigger body wide receiver can do. So I firmly believe that they're probably going to go heavier on defense, and they want to make this a defensive showing in week 1. The offense will be there. It'll be clicking with the guys that they have. I think that it's going to be defense. I think it's Kyle Pecco coming back. I don't know that they're going to give a Mitchell Agudi or anybody else, like a rookie UDFA, an opportunity in such a big game, because this is an NFC opponent. This is where it all begins. Not only do you need to win your division, but you need to beat your NFC guys. Have to. That's how you get the 1 seed. So we're starting off week 1. Hell, even week 2, right? NFC opponents. We got to beat these guys. Have to. And I think the defense is the way to do that. So yeah, that's where I'm at on that.
Yep. These guys are funny in the chat. So you mentioned Allen Robinson and Tim Patrick. You put their names together, Tim Allen. So Tim the Tool Man. I thought that was pretty funny. They're talking about in the chat there. And Tim Allen, yes, he is a big Detroit Lions fan.
It all worked. I don't know how, it just all worked.
Yeah, if you remember watching the show back in the 80s and 90s there, he wore a Lions shirt all the time. He had a Detroit Lions clock on the wall. So he really is in real life a Detroit Lions fan.
I'm sure he'll be there. Yeah, I'm sure he'll be there this week. Who knows? Might be on the sideline. Power tools. That's what we're looking for. Joe Schmo is power tools. We're looking for this power defense, which is up front in the middle. It's the only way to get to Matthew Stafford. I want Stafford to see the roof of Ford Field once again.
Hey, Cake Man 1218, he asks a question here.
Sure.
Do you think Branch will be able to handle his role at safety with him mainly playing corner last year, Eric and Will? Well, if you go watch All 22 with Coach DC, he just put out a video a couple days ago about Brian Branch and the kid from the Ravens, safety from the Ravens, really good. But he talked about both of them being two of the better safeties in the league and how they're changing things because of their position flexibility. And I don't see any problem, any issue whatsoever from Branch going to safety. And you might see Brian Branch be a Pro Bowler this year. That's all I'm going to say about it.
So I'm not sure what this other conversation is, talking about someone getting taken. Someone didn't get claimed, so we are good. Who are we talking about there?
I don't know.
Isaac Ukwu shouldn't be on the practice squad right now. Ukwu not being on the roster is still a travesty. Yeah, I hear you, Braylon. Like the younger guys, the UDFAs, the rookies, if they were not picked up on waivers, the likelihood of them being picked up again week 1, especially when you're trying to get through a roster with your own guys, I would say the likelihood is a lot less. I think that he'll be safe, and you can protect 4 guys. So you don't have to protect the vet squad. So out of 16 guys, you can protect 10, essentially. If your vet squad wants to be here, you don't have to worry about them. They can't get picked up anyway. They're free agents. They can sign wherever they want. And if the Lions have them, under contract, I can't remember how that all exactly works, but maybe we'll get into that during the season. But the other guys that you can't protect, the other 6, you just have to make, are we going to protect Jake Fromm? Are we going to protect, who's on the practice squad right now? Now you guys got me going down a rabbit hole. Let's see here. Of course, this was as of like 4 days ago.
Yeah.
So are we going to protect Jamar Jefferson? Probably not. We don't need to protect Peoples-Jones. We don't need to protect Tim Patrick. We don't need to protect Allen Robinson. Tom Kennedy, I'm pretty sure he's got 3 years of accruity now. Yep. Shane Zielstra, I think he's got 3 years of accruity now. James Mitchell, he's in his third year. But are we going to protect James? Probably not. Kingsley, offensive lineman, would we protect him? Maybe. Kyle Pecco, how many years does he have?
Like 6.
Yeah, isn't it? Kyle Pecco.
Yeah. Or he's even more than that. I think he's 9 seasons. But he skipped the season to help his wife because she had lymphoma or something going on.
Oh, geez, man. I didn't know that. So that further, let me throw out a reminder. I forgot to do this early. If you guys have been following the channel for a while, you know that I'm a cancer warrior, and so is my Megan. She's also a cancer warrior. We both had cancer pretty much together. She was diagnosed 22. I was diagnosed 23. We fought, side by side to get through it. So starting the Rock Down Cancer Foundation, obviously something very near and dear to my heart. It hit home, literally hit home. And then we put our dog down this year, who also was diagnosed with cancer. So it's like cancer sucks. I can't stand it. So I want to fight against it. I want to be a voice of change. My tagline here is I want to brew hope one cup at a time. And with your help, I know that we can do that. So I started the Rock Down Cancer Foundation in hopes of raising $50,000 this year. I've been offered an opportunity by a company to match that. If I get to 50K, they are going to match it, and they're going to match it every year. And that's huge. To be able to have an endowment, we just got to get there. So I have till pretty much June 1st of next year to get there. And I think we can do it. So every week we're doing raffles. We started off with Penei Sewell's helmet. I added a bonus that'll actually go for about 2 weeks, which is the Eric Hipple back seat from Pontiac Silverdome, signed certificate of authenticity. And all of that you can find at the top of right here, buy me a coffee /rockdown. I'm getting better at that. And then you visit the shops, and that's where you guys can buy a raffle ticket. So all of the proceeds, net proceeds, which is after cost, of course, go towards the Rock Down Cancer Foundation. We now have a tracker that Buy Me a Coffee gave us for goals. And we've been banging it out the first week. You guys are doing a great job. If I get to $1,000 every week, that means that we're almost halfway there by the end of the season. And that would be a great place to be. So 25,000 is my goal by the Super Bowl. Even though I put end of the year to Super Bowl. So each week there's going to be something new. Matter of fact, there's something that I bought and donated to the PFUFA when I was there for the Hall of Fame week, which is a Miller Lite neon sign, like the old school neon signs. So I'm going to put that up, I think, in the next couple of weeks. And then, of course, sponsors. So anybody that's listening that has a company, or even personally, if there's items that you want to donate to put up for raffle, we'll be more than happy to accept it and put it up. And we appreciate anything and everything and anything that you guys do. But you guys have been awesome. So super shout out to anybody and everybody that is shared, donated, done raffles, mentioned, just showing up in the show and hitting the like button too, because that helps all of this get out to more people that might run across it. So again, I appreciate all of you. And of course, Eric, man. Eric's really stepped up in a big way with a lot of things that he does with his company. And I really appreciate you, man. Really do.
Awesome.
Okay. So Levi O, practice squad, what makes sense? How do you protect these guys? I just don't see us protecting, like Mitchell Agood. Absolutely. Protect the guy. Isaac Ukwu, protect the guy. And I think that fixes your problem, Braylon. I think it does. And the rest of the guys, Kingsley, you can protect him too. And then I think it's a toss up whether Shane Zielstra needs to be protected or not. But I don't remember if he had to hit waivers or if he was cut. I just can't remember right now. So anyway, we'll move forward here. Do the Detroit Lions expect to push the noise record this weekend? Well, I'll tell you what, I don't know what the Lions are going to be handing out at the door. Some years they do noisemakers, some years they do towels. Some years they do schedules. I hope they do something big for this week. I have no idea what they're giving away. But what I would recommend to you is bring something legal that you can make noise with. So in the past, we've had...
What are we allowed to bring?
You'll have to look at the rules. Okay, so at the NFC Championship game, there was a guy that was literally 15, 20 rows behind me that had like a kazoo. And it was like one of those, like you always hear him at the Latin parties. It's like a spinner. I don't know, just some weird noise, but it sounds like a kazoo and a spinner all at the same time. And it's really high pitched. And he kept blowing that thing. And I kept complaining, of course, to the chaperone there in our level. And he said, yeah, we can do whatever we want. This is our stadium. We're going to do it. And I said, dude, that stuff's not legal. You can't bring noisemakers in, like a legit noisemaker. Like I can bring a trumpet in. You're cool with that? Okay. I guess I should have brought one. But you can't bring
plastic ones.
What's that?
They make little plastic trumpets.
Right. I know. And that's kind of what this thing was about. But in years previous, they've given us these harder cardstock paper that you would fold up, and then you could slap it on your hand and it would, slap. It would help you clap and really loud. So there's things like that you can bring in that are legal. You might just have to go make them yourself. So I'm not going to give you any advice on what to bring or don't bring. Just bring something. Bring something that's legal that you can make noise with. Whether it's something that helps you clap or whatever. I don't think that noisemakers like that are legal though. But you just have to check Detroit Lions website.
Yeah, I suspect this game is going to be a lot like the playoff games, where I don't think we're going to be sitting at all. I think we're going to be standing the whole entire game, just like we did against the Bucks and the Rams. And what I did and what me and my friends did is we would lean over and we would hit the seat back in front of us with our hands and just, get the whole going on the seat backs in front of us and yelling and screaming as loud as we could at the same time. And we had everybody doing it, and it was so incredibly loud.
Yeah. So super shout out to some of the guys and ladies in the chat. I hate, and I love the stories that I hear because cancer also affected my sister. And a lot of people, a lot of our families have been touched by this stuff. But Dale, I appreciate your message. Brett, man, that's huge of you. And 10 family members, dude, that's just too much, man. Peter Van Larhoven, again, I appreciate you being a warrior. All of you people that have had to battle or been close to somebody that's had to battle or love somebody that's had to battle. You're a warrior now. And that's how I'm trying to be synonymous with our Lions, right? Our Lions are warriors. There's no reason in the world why we can't be warriors along with them in our own adventure and doing our own things side by side. And there's other things that we're going to do too, like for kids. I've got a huge thing that I'm going to be releasing in the next week or so. I'm trying to partner with a couple of other companies, but just school supplies from now till June 1st, backpacks and school supplies. So I'm going to put something else on the Buy Me a Coffee. So I want to raise 400 backpacks loaded with school supplies. And I'm trying to, like I said, I'm trying to partner with companies first that can do this and provide these types of things. But man, we're going to be doing walks. We're going to be doing walks. And that's funny because my ass can't walk that great, but we'll be doing all sorts of things to raise, not just for cancer warriors and survivors, but also for the kids, man, the kids that sometimes just need a leg up in the world, and maybe they don't have everything, every tool, and our future is our kids. So the more we can support them too, I think would help out greatly. That's what this channel is all about, man. Giving back to those that join us and ride with us. You know that every 500 subscribers, we give away a mini helmet. It's completely random. I still have not heard from Honolulu BS. So Honolulu BS, if you ever hear this show, you still need to get a hold of me. I got a helmet sitting here for you, buddy. We hold on to it for 30 days, and then we kind of consider them abandoned, and then we'll have to re-roll it. All right, what do you got next, Eric? It's over under reaction Tuesday because we didn't do it on Monday. But before we do that, let's get to our 9 o'clock hour sponsor, and we'll be right back. Here, and you want the latest news and rumors on your Detroit Lions. Head to sportspider.com. That's sports, SPYDER.com, where you can get your Lions news and all your sports in one place. Man, this site is packed with your favorite podcasts, live news, articles from local writers, and insiders, all updating in real time. Not just the Lions, every major sports team, including MMA, UFC, and so much more. Don't want to waste time searching? Sign up for free. Create your ultimate sports news hub. You control what hits your feed at SportsSpider, your number one source for all your sports. Visit SportSpider.com today, right after the show. Dave Scott, you just gave me the slogan, buddy. With your permission, I would love to utilize that. Today's kids are tomorrow's Lions. I love that. That's perfect, man. And this reaches beyond Michigan though too. So it really starts in Canton for the PFUFA. They do a big thing down there for J-Babe, and I want to be a big part of that. But I also want to support inner city Detroit kids with this project. So we'll be working hard on it. This all takes time, but we'll be working hard on it. Let's get to the over under. I don't have a sound bite for this, so we'll just do this one.
You sure about that?
Yeah. Okay. Are you sure about that?
You sure about that?
Oh,
Oh, there goes Tracy.
5 more.
Trace giving away another 5 subscriptions to the Rocked On memberships. That means now we're at 63 memberships in just 10 days. Awesome, Tracy. Super shout out to you. Riley O'Brien, Aubrey Lennon, Ben Foster, Chris Smith, and John's Chemo Hair. I wonder if you're also a battler warrior. Appreciate you if you are, my man. But welcome all 5. Now part of the membership to the Lions faithful. But take it away, Eric. It is your segment. Over under. Let's do it.
All right. We're going to start off with a banger. Are you ready for this? Jamison Williams, Will's favorite player on the Detroit Lions, will have more than 700 yards this season. Is that an overreaction or a underreaction?
I'm going to go with the under on this one. I've been very clear about JMO.
Wow.
Very, very clear on JMO. He has to have 808 to have a very successful season. And I think that's where his basement should be. You want to call it floor, you want to call it ceiling, you want to call it basement, whatever you want to call it. Look, this kid is going to blow up this year. Man, I almost said something that would have got me in trouble. He's going to have an amazing rise, I think, in his third season, which, you know, he's battled suspension. He's battled rehab from injury more than once, right? Coming out of college, and then the hamstring, as well as the suspension last year. This is JMO's time to shine. And yes, I'm going to go a little bit lighter on JMO. I'm going to give him, you know, all of his grace, all of his flowers. It's time for him to show me what I've been waiting for, what a lot of us have been waiting for. He's a number 12 pick in the draft. You go look at the other receivers that have been taken in the top 12. That's where he should be. And that's what I'm expecting. JMO will do it. All
right. And he will finally unblock you from Instagram.
No, he won't.
X. All right. The Detroit Lions in 2024 will have 2, not 1, but 2 1,000-yard receivers.
Ooh. As much as I want to say JMO can do it,
but that's including Laporta also.
Yeah.
And Gibbs,
he won't touch 1,000. I think that Gibbs can do 500. I think that JMO's somewhere between 800 and 999. I think Laporta's somewhere between 800 and 999. So overreaction.
All right.
It doesn't mean that we don't have a successful season. It just means that we've got, multiple players that are putting up big yardage. That's all that it means.
And that's fine with me. All right. David Montgomery and Jahmyr Gibbs will both have a touchdown in week 1.
Ooh. Real quick before I answer that, Brent Lighton's putting it out there. He says J-Mo is going to have 12 TDs and over 1,300 yards. Dude, that would be insane, like meteoric rise for J-Mo. Both will have a touchdown on the ground in week 1. On the ground?
No, just touchdown.
Just a touchdown.
Just touchdown.
Just a touchdown. I would say over. I think it can happen. I could see... the bowling ball getting one in at the end zone, and I could see Jahmyr Gibbs also running one out from, probably 18 yards out, or catching a pass out of the backfield, deep into the red zone, around the goal line. So I would go with the over. I think that I think that Gibbs and Monty both could score this weekend. I think the Lions are going to want to run the ball.
All right. My next question, Dan the Gamble Campbell.
Hold on a sec.
All right.
Dan Gambles of the week.
Dan the Gamble Campbell will go for it at least 2 times on 4th down in week 1 versus the Rams.
Ooh, I'm going to go with the overreaction on this one. I think that Dan the Campbell is not going to have to go for it on 4th down. I think maybe 1, but I don't think he's going to have to go for it.
All right. The next one. Aiden Hutchinson will get at least 1 sack in week 1 versus the Rams.
Repeat that. You got to make sure you give us your answer too.
Oh, okay. Aiden Hutchinson will get at least 1 sack versus the Rams in week 1.
Aiden Hutchinson to get a sack in week 1. Did he sack? So he did sack Matthew Stafford in the playoff game, but that was a two-hand touch.
Yep.
I think that he wants. That back, and he wants Stafford standing up, and he wants to take him down. So Aiden Hutchinson gets the sack. And I'm even going to go as far as to say it could be a blindside fumble.
Ah, there you go. Turnover.
Yep, sack fumble.
All right. My position on this is I think he gets a sack and a half in this first game.
Okay.
Gets to a good start, gets a sack and a half, and then maybe doesn't get one next week. Okay. All right. So the next one, Goff will throw for at least 3 touchdowns in week 1.
I'm going to go with the under on this. I as much as I want to see it happen, I don't think it's going to be needed. I really feel, and not to give away too much of my pregame, but I think the Lions are going to try to run the ball quite a bit in this game and keep the ball out of Matthew Stafford's hands. So I'm going to go firmly 2 passing TDs and at least 2 on the ground. I'm not sure where I had the Lions. I forget my score. Let me go back to my score.
I got that right here.
Oh, poop. Where is it? Where is it?
Found mine. I got them all written down.
Did you write mine down?
No, I just did mine. I thought you were all in the computer.
I did. Where is
mine,
it?
31-25. So I firmly put Jared Goff right at 3 touchdowns. I think we're only going to have 1, possibly 2 on the ground, but I think it's the ground game that's going to get us down to the 1 or 2 yard line. And then it's going to be a little dink and dunk. And that's how we're going to put it in.
Yeah. So I have 4 TDs in this game and 1 field goal. Lions 31-17. So, yeah, I think 2 TDs by air and 2 on the ground. And Lions will be in good shape.
All right. So our next one, Sub-Zero Terry and Arnold, number 0, or a cornerback will have a pick in week 1.
Stafford, Stafford, I'd have to go back, so I'm gonna need to write this down. He likes to get aggressive, and I think his aggressiveness sometimes gets him into trouble. And I think what could happen here is that you're going to see where the Lions are up, and Stafford's trying to bring them back, and you might see a late fourth quarter interception when Stafford's trying to push the ball. So I'm going to go ahead and say, yeah, I agree. I think that we will have at least one interception in this game. And I'm not going to say it's going to be Terry. I think it could be anybody.
But do you think it's a corner?
So I think it has to be a corner.
A corner gets an interception, not a safety, not a linebacker, a corner.
Yep, I'm going to say no. I think it's going to be Brian Branch.
Yeah. All right. This is where I'm going to put up or shut up. I think Sub-Zero gets his first interception because Stafford's going to test him. He's going to see what he can do against Cooper Kupp. And Terrian's not going to have any help. There's not going to be anyone behind him. He's going to get right in front of Cooper Kupp and snag that ball.
Okay.
All right. The Lions will win versus the Rams by 10 or more points this Sunday.
Yeah, I mean, I have them at 31-17, so that's a 14-point win.
All right. All right. And now my last one. Sion Vaki, our rookie, will get at least 2 touches as a running back in this game.
I'm going to say no, and I hope not, because if he's in there, that's a problem. So I'm going to say no. It doesn't mean that he won't get a touch, period, whether it's in the return game or, picks up a loose ball or something on special teams. But no, I'm going to go with the no, because you've got Jahmyr Gibbs and Monty. And you may not even, I think you do have to carry a third running back for the roster that day. So I think he'll be there, or it'll be Craig Reynolds that'll be there. But I'm going to say no. I'm going to say that I'm going to go with the overreaction on that. I think that Sione Vaki does not.
Yep. I'm hoping that he doesn't get any rushes, but I'm hoping he gets a few touches in, maybe possibly as a receiver. I think that might be a kind of a neat option to throw him out as the X here and there. Puts Amon-Ra, St. Brown out wide with JMO, and maybe utilize him as a wide receiver for a play or two.
He wouldn't be in the X spot, but he might be down in the slot.
Well, that's what I meant. Yeah, in the slot.
Yeah.
Excuse me. But yeah, just like, some special just for him. Put him in 1 or 2 plays. I think it might be kind of cool. But you'll definitely see him out there on special teams if he's the third running back for the day.
I would agree. What else we got?
And that's it for today. That's my over-under questions for today.
All right. Over-under, man. I love it. So do yourself a favor and try to keep a little bit of a, track on your game calls. So I just added to my spreadsheet my calls of the game, which I'll be reviewing in the pregame show. So tomorrow night is the pregame show, and it's going to be at 6:00. I'm starting at 6 because Chef should be on at 7, so I don't want to overlap with him. Normally that gets done on Thursdays. I may have to do a little bit of, show gymnastics, if you will, and try to figure out exactly when I'm going to do these things. I might do a recap on Thursday morning. I might not, or I might do the recap on Friday morning after I do the pregame breakdown. But in the pregame breakdown, I break down the offense. I break down the defense. I look at, what schemes both teams are running. Look at the starting lineups or the projected starting lineups, who should have success, who shouldn't or wouldn't possibly have as much success in these games, and just kind of break it down. Philosophy, a little bit of philosophy in this, but also a little bit of a high level overview on the exact types of defenses they run, and potentially what defenses you could see the Lions in, what schemes that could fit. Last year, it was about halfway through the season, I started calling for a lot more nickel and wanted to see the Lions in a lot more nickel. And that's when in more DB blitzes. And it just so happened that's when you saw Iffy off the edge getting sacks, and an interception started to fly, and we went to the nickel. So I think that's where AG wants to live. I think he wants to live more in a nickel defense and go more press man and allow somebody to be able to come off the edge and help the defensive front. And you guys know that I've been a big supporter of the way that we're building this defense, because when you're good in the middle, you don't necessarily have to fire your edges all the time. They can just set the edge and then free fire when they need to get to the quarterback. But this is going to free up, in my opinion, not to give away too much here, but I think this is going to free up Jack Campbell and Barnes to be able to, get more linebacker sacks. It's also going to free up our DBs. If you're in the nickel, you're going to have an extra DB, which means you're faster, right? So you're faster off the edge, and those guys should be able to get, more DB sacks this season. And I think that's where your sack numbers are probably going to improve quite a bit, is with the Lions coming off the edge with the DB. So pay attention to that. There's going to be certain offenses that fits better with. It just depends on where the matchups are, but it's going to be a fun overview. I mean, teams are pretty much the same. I think the Lions have gotten much better than the Rams did. What else do we have for this morning? So we are at 9:30 in the morning. Trey says we have 14 more likes to get to 100 to keep our streak alive. Do us a favor. Let's keep the ads off. If we don't hit 100, the ads go back on. And that's just the way we got to do it. We're trading. We're doing a little quid pro quo here. Your thumb for no ads, but let's get to a sponsor real quick. So Pro Sports Zone, join me this Saturday at Pro Sports Zone in Livonia, 37700 6 Mile Road. We're going to be doing a special 2-hour sale starting at 10:30 in the morning. The mall opens at 10, so it's the Laurel Park Place Mall in Livonia. There's going to be a special wheel spin going on. You can get up to 25% off. There might even be an area where we could do like a raffle or an auction. Haven't decided yet, with John yet, which direction we're going to go. But join us this Saturday, special 2-hour sale. It's a minimum of 15% off everything in the store. No holds barred. Anything that you see, it could be 15 to 25% off. You just got to be lucky with your old wheel spin. We'll see how you guys do. Join us this Saturday. Pro Sports Zone, Livonia, Michigan, Laurel Park Place Mall. All right, so what's up next for news and notes of the Detroit Lions? We haven't talked about captains yet, and today's thumbnail is Captain, oh Captain, my Captain. And I thought that this was a good thumbnail for a couple of reasons. One, it's a Walt Whitman poem. I don't think that really fits a whole lot. But can anybody tell me what movie that came from? Eric, do you know?
I have no clue.
You don't know that thumbnail? Does anybody know?
I know there's a song.
This was one of my favorite movies when I was younger. This came out in 1989. Maybe we should have that as a segment this year.
Deep trivia.
No, like a movie that works with the Detroit Lions season. I don't know. We could probably do something.
Yeah.
Brent Lighton says, now I need a desk to stand on. There it is. Lions fan 76. Dead Poet Society. So the late great, of course. This was an Oscar-winning performance by Williams in this movie. Robin Williams was an English teacher at the Welton Academy boarding school. And when he was fired and told to leave, all the students started to stand on the desk and recite the Walt Whitman poem, "Oh Captain, My Captain." And I thought, you know what? This Lions team, when you look at these captains and how much they revere Dan Campbell, resemble Dan Campbell in the way that he operates, I just thought it was fitting that every single one of these captains belongs here. Number one. Number two, the way that they're taking on the identity of their coach, I think is exceptional to watch. You don't see it very often that your players respect a coach as much as I believe that they respect Dan Campbell. And I mean, Brad Holmes fits into this too. But this is about Dan Campbell, man. He has completely reshaped Detroit sports, if you will, as a coach and what it means to be a coach of this football team. And he is so well respected, not only as a player, former player as a coach, somebody that takes risks, and somebody that tries to do it right. Super shout out to Steve Wittes 68, just joined the Lions faithful. So I won't go off into a big old thing about this, but 6 Detroit Lions were named as captains for this week and for this season. And they are Jared Goff, Amon-Ra St. Brown, Penei Sewell, Aiden Hutchinson, Alex Anzalone, and Jalen Reeves-Maybin. Now, last season, of course, you had Jared Goff, St. Brown, Penei Sewell, Alex Anzalone, Charles Harris, and Jalen Reeves-Maybin. So Goff and Anzalone have now been the team's captain, both under Dan Campbell. Sewell and St. Brown, 2 players who received big contract extensions this offseason, enter their second consecutive season as team captains. Reeves-Maybin is also entering his second season as a team captain. Now that leaves you with Hutchinson, the Lions' first pick in 2022, number 2 overall. This is his first time as a Detroit Lions captain in his 3rd season as a Lion. And I would say that he has earned every bit of it. I am excited to see where Aiden Hutchinson grows, not goes, grows to in his 3rd season with the Lions. I really believe that Aiden is going to turn into one of those captains that takes on or transforms into someone that's more vocal. And you've seen it last year. You've seen the highlights where Aiden's getting excited, right? He's getting the guys pumped up. But he's a guy that performs, right? He's a guy that puts everything onto the field. And he's a great example to follow. And it's a well-deserved honor to be a captain of your Detroit Lions team in 2024. So super shout out to all of your Detroit Lions captains, especially Aiden Hutchinson making his first captain appearance in 2024. Now, there's a quote here by Terrell Williams, and here's what he had to say about Aiden Hutchinson. He said, "Hutch has been unbelievable this offseason. I think he's made huge, 3 huges strides from the time I arrived until where he is now." That's scary to think about, right? That's really scary. And then he goes on to say that it's not me, it's him studying tape. It's him asking questions. Everybody sees big, tall 97 with long arms and Mr. Michigan and all this other stuff. But what you don't see is the time that this guy puts in. He's constantly asking questions, studying tape, studying other players, and working on his crazy. I don't know what that means. He's an extremely coachable player. I love the guy because of what he's about. He's about getting better. He's not about the glamour and the glitz. He's just a grinder. We need a lot more guys that have that mentality. Oh, the Detroit Lions used "Oh Captain, My Captain." I just seen that. That's on September 2. Wow, how fitting. That's the first time that I've seen the Detroit Lions post here where the 2024 captains are all stacked on the Twitter. It must be a Twitter post. I suck at Twitter. I'm never on Twitter, really.
Yep.
Look, this is huge, man. Look, Aiden's going to be part of this year. He's going to be part of this team taking that next step and walking a line with his fellow captains this year of how to keep this team in line. No moment can be too big. No moment can be too small. They have to continue to stay where their feet are. Just make plays. Do your job. I think that's all they have to echo to these guys. Just do your job. Show up. Work hard. Do your job. Show up. Work hard. Do your job. And then, of course, every week, take care of your body. Even though you felt like maybe you didn't get enough snaps in, you still got to hit the cold tub. You still got to take care of your body every single day. If you don't stretch right, if you don't hydrate, you're going to get cramps. And those are the little things that if your captains do it right, maybe the rest of the team will do it right. It's an exciting year for 2024 Detroit Lions. What do you think about the captains this year, Eric?
I love it. And seeing Hutch work his way up and in his third year be voted a captain, because these are voted by the players. This has nothing to do with the coaches. The coaches have no say in who gets to be a captain. This is voted on by the players themselves. It's awesome to see. That means he has the trust of everyone in that room, and they are looking to him for guidance. So I love it. That means he's no longer the rookie. He's no longer the guy struggling to make his way. Now he's the seasoned vet that is looked upon to help everyone else and bring everyone else along.
Sorry about that. My wanted to see where we were in the stream there. It just kind of popped up.
Gotcha.
So what else do we have for Lions news today? There's not a whole lot. When we enter next week, it is going to be wall-to-wall, consistent news, rumors, and news segments that you guys are going to be showing up for. And I think we're going to have some fun with it. So if you guys have any ideas, of course, you have the mailbag at rockedon.com. The phone line is going to start to open up every single day. And we'll probably just start opening up after the first hour. Like, let's get through, a few of our segments, and then we'll open it up. If you guys feel like you want to call in the morning early, like if you're driving on your way to work, it's 8:15 in the morning, whatever. You just let us know if you want to sneak in and get some calls. Otherwise, it's going to turn into a segment where we're just going to open it up, and you guys can plan on being able to call at that time. If you have joined the member group, of course, you'll get priority call in, and you just let us know what time you want to call in, and we'll make it happen. ESPN Simulator. So, Eric, I think you touched on this a little bit this morning.
Yep, I sure did.
But you also have the NFL Power Rankings. Yeah. So this will also be a segment each week. So let's get into it. You've got the NFL Power Rankings that came out. And does anybody know where your Detroit Lions are? I don't know if any of you guys have really looked at it yet, but not everybody looks at this stuff.
I might have given him a hint.
What's that?
I said I might have given him a hint. Look up.
Look up?
Yeah, I went like this.
Oh, gotcha. All right. So your Detroit Lions are starting off the season at number 2. This is the highest you're ever going to get unless you're the Super Bowl winner, right?
Isn't that crazy?
And the Lions are at number 2. Is it too much? I mean, is it too much for the Lions to, I don't know, I guess to hold on to throughout the season? Let's hear what Yahoo Sports had to say. They said the Lions had some injury scares during training camp and preseason, but it doesn't seem like any major contributors will miss week 1. And hold on here. I got to turn this off. All right, we'll miss week 1. We'll have to see if rookie first-round pick Terrion Arnold gets a starting nod for week 1 after missing time in August with a pectoral injury. So I guess to put my answer on that, I would say that I can't imagine that Terrion Arnold's not going to start, but I don't know, man. The way Amik was playing, that dude is playing lights out. But I would say that just based on who played in preseason, Terrion Arnold's going to get the nod. Without a doubt, it should be Terrion Arnold and Carlton Davis. But I expect to see plenty of Amik Robertson, especially when we're in the nickel defense. Big dime, of course, we'll see Amik in there. But I think that they're going to use a little bit of a rotation at times. If you have a team that is kind of got you on your heels a little bit, they're putting together a long run, a long series. They're into play 8. Maybe they're at the 45-yard line. Maybe they got to put in a guy to get a breath. You'll see Amik flying in there. Depending on, what the Rams are doing even this week. If they're bringing guys in and out, you might see Amik run onto the field and Terrion come out. They might find a better matchup. When you have a very deep roster like this, especially in your DB room, you have that flexibility now of finding the matchups that will work for you. So I expect to see plenty of Amik Robertson. I really do. And especially, as him as the nickelback this season, we should see him plenty on the field. So Lions at number 2, Kansas City Chiefs at number 1. And this statement, this really blew my mind. How the heck is Rashee Rice avoiding a suspension?
Because it was his first felony, whatever you want to call it, and it's still going to court or whatever.
First felony.
Yeah, first offense. That's what I meant.
Here's, and I don't want to get too far off in the rabbit hole, but here's my question to you, Roger Goodell. Do you have precedent for that decision? Have you ever given somebody with a first infraction a pass? Or is it just the Super Bowl champs?
Yeah.
That's my question. I think it's a bunch of hogwash. I think it's complete and utter tampering, if you will.
He left the scene.
Yeah.
He injured people. And listen, the kid Addison, he got caught, drunk driving, and they brought the hammer down on him. He got a 6-game suspension.
And I think that was his second issue, though.
It was his second issue because he got a speeding ticket going 115 and like a 35 or something. And so he got a really, really bad speeding ticket. And then he got a drunk driving. He didn't hurt anybody. Rashee Rice goes out and hurts people, leaves the scene. They don't know if he was drunk driving or not. They can't prove that he was because he left the scene. When someone leaves the scene like that, I think they should automatically get a drunk driving, even though, they should get it just for leaving the scene. I think that's way worse. I don't know.
Unfortunately, the law doesn't work that way. That way. You got to be able to prove it, right? Exactly. Doesn't mean that the judge doesn't make their decision, based on what they know or don't know, but you got to be able to prove it. I think that's 9/10 of the law, as they say, is being able to prove it. So
it just seems like a way worse thing that he did. Well, not worse, but just as bad, and should be punished just the same.
Yeah. Well, here's where I'm at with these rankings, man. I think it's solid. You got the Lions ahead of the San Francisco 49ers at number 3. You got the Baltimore Ravens at number 4. The Dallas Cowboys do not belong in the top 5. The Jets do not belong in the top 6. The Buffalo Bills do not belong in the top 7. The Philadelphia Eagles should belong in the top 8. But Jason Kelsey's retirement, obviously that's a huge blow to center. I think that they'll be able to make up for that. Houston Texans absolutely belong in the top 9. The Green Bay Packers do not belong in the top 10. It'd be funny to go back and look. What were the week 1 rankings from last year? You know what? Let's do that. Let's do that real quick.
Yeah.
Power rankings, week 1, 2023.
Let's do that for tomorrow. Our own top 10 power rankings.
Yeah, we can do that. That's fine. Yeah. But I'm just curious to know where they were September 5th of 2023 in week 1. Of course, you had KC at the top. They won the Super Bowl. You had the Eagles at number 2. They almost made it. But you had the Buffalo Bills at number 3. Didn't belong. You had San Francisco 49ers at number 4. They belonged. Cincinnati Bengals obviously suffered injury. but they didn't belong. The Dallas Cowboys at number 6. I mean, they made the playoffs, but they got blown out by the Packers. Ravens at 7. They made the playoffs. Dolphins, they made the playoffs. Jacksonville Jaguars, I think they made the playoffs last year. Maybe not. The Jets, obviously their season went to hell in a handbasket quickly. But your Detroit Lions were at number 11. Number 11. And we finished as a top 4 team. So we didn't get the respect last year. Probably didn't deserve it just yet. But now this year we're getting the respect at number 2, which is I think is where we definitely belong. So interesting. I do agree with, some things, but I think that there's some things in this or some teams in this that just don't belong. All right, what do you want to finish with for the last 10 minutes here? And congratulations, you guys hit another 100 likes during the show. I really appreciate that. It helps us out so much.
So I got a little something current here by Jack Murray, and this is the headline. Lions Dan Campbell, ahead of Rams game, says, "It's nice not to have to worry about Aaron Donald." Isn't that a nice thing to not have to worry about? But I think they've been grooming his replacement from the kid they got last year. And it is nice to not have to go up against one of the best to ever do it, But they did draft Jared Verse and Braden Fisk, 2 guys that we got to see quite a bit down at the combine, and then Kobe Turner from last year. And they know how this is going to give his team some trouble. But these guys are all either second-year players or rookies, so it might take a little bit for them to gel and figure things out here against the Detroit Lions. So I think the Detroit Lions are going to be just fine this weekend.
Yeah, when I look at the way that the Rams are developing their team, their defense is about to be one of the best defenses in the league in short order. Braden Fisk is your starting left defensive end. Kobe Turner is your starting right defensive end, who had 9 sacks as a rookie. Byron Young in his second season as your will linebacker. Jared Verse as your Sam linebacker starter, rookie. They brought back Darius Williams, who's one of the better corners in the league. They brought in Tre'Davious White, one of the better corners in the league. Cameron Curl, who was drafted, about 4 seasons ago. So it's a very young defense up front. It's funny, they brought in Cameron Kinchins this year in the draft to back up Cameron Curl. I thought that's kind of funny. But yeah, this is a very stout defense up front, very fast defense up front. Not so much for their second tier backups. I think they've got a lot of work to do behind them. But yeah, if Braden Fisk can hit the ground running, if Jared Verse can hit the ground running, and Kobe Turner picks up where he left off, and Byron Young's another season into this, that is a very tough defense. You don't have Aaron Donald. You have 4 guys that are filling in for Aaron Donald now. And all 4 of these guys can be game changers. I don't necessarily see it happen in week 1 with, 2 rookies starting on the edge and going up against Penei Sewell and Taylor Decker. I don't see that happening. I think that Penei Sewell and Taylor Decker are going to school these kids. But in short order, by the end of the season, if everyone stays healthy, the Rams could have one of the better defenses in the NFL.
Yeah,
it is what it is.
Decker did a little press conference yesterday where they let the press talk to some of the players, and he said he didn't really know anything about the Jared Verse kid, so he had to watch all of his college tape. He was actually calling other people that have played against Verse and asking people that had played against him, like Mahogany, so he could get some intel on how to play this kid. So I thought that was pretty cool that Taylor Decker was doing that much homework on a rookie defensive end.
Yeah. Let me shout this out to the chat real quick. Lions fan 76 says, yes, members support the channel with paid membership. Hit that join button and see the options, people. Appreciate you, Lions fan 76.
Yeah.
And to walk it back just a little bit.
You see the one above it?
Mike the Marine Guy Gunny?
Yeah.
Is a member different from a subscriber? Yes. So subscriber, obviously you're subscribed to the channel. A member, you're subscribed and you're supporting the channel. As little as $3.99 a month. $9.99 is going to get you into the second tier. And then every week after the game, like a day or two later, we're going to do a condensed version of NFL Plus's All 22 review. So it'll be anywhere from a 30 to a 60-minute show that only members have access to. And I'm working on that this week to see if we can do it via Zoom, which I think would make it a little bit easier as opposed to doing it through YouTube. That way you can join by phone call, you can join by video, and we'll watch it, offline, away from YouTube. That way it's not involved. Otherwise, I don't know if I'll be able to show the all 22, even though it's a private video. I don't know if I'll be able to put that on YouTube. I haven't tested it yet. Maybe I can test it today. We'll see if it works. I don't want to break the rules, the terms and conditions of YouTube. That's one thing I don't want to do. Going back just a little bit more, though, like Cheap Detroit Lions memes. That's a new name. Haven't seen you in before. Appreciate you joining us this morning. It says, Jamison Williams is suspended for gambling and Rashee Rice gets a slap on the wrist. So I don't know if the whole Rashee thing is over just yet. You would have expected probably to see more punishments handed out before 53-man. I think that the NFL tries to put their initial feelers out there before 53 so that the teams have a good understanding of where these players are going to be to enter the season. But I think that one's kind of different, right? I think that JMO got screwed because they changed the rule. And I feel like the NFL kind of screwed some of these players in the sense that maybe not enough was done to explain things. And that's why some of these players got hit with suspensions. They were even a year long. But I think the difference here is, something that was internally wrong, an infraction within the NFL rules or confines of the rules, and then something that was illegal, right? Something that, was an actual felony or misdemeanor. I think they're two different things here. You got personal conduct, rules, and then you have personal conduct outside the NFL that, wraps around legal issues. And so, yeah, I think that Rashee Rice absolutely should be suspended for a minimum of 4 to 6 games while this thing is being investigated. And I do believe that this is how the NFL is tampering with the season. That's my thought. I'm probably not alone in that thought. Shout out to Mike, the Marine Guy Gunny. Not only did he ask how and why, but he went ahead and did it and just joined the Lions Faithful as a member of the channel. What a great way to end the show.
Yeah, right on.
What a great way. Oh, now we got breaking news. As of 8:52 a.m., so an hour ago, the holdout is over for Trent Williams. The All-Pro left tackle is headed to San Francisco to now finalize his new deal with the 49ers, according to his agent. Can't open it. Oh, now I deleted it. Hold on. I think it's opening. It just took a minute.
I have some other breaking news.
Go for it.
We also hit 100 likes today on the show for the 11th day in a row.
Is it 11 or 12?
Today? What day is today? Tuesday? 12 days in a row.
12 days.
12 days in a row. We hit 100 likes during the show.
That's awesome, man. Like, it's incredible. We got to track it. I need to put a spreadsheet together.
Yep.
So here's the thing, man. Trent Williams, he's in year 15. Jeez, oh Pete. Dude's old. I'm trying to see how much this contract is supposed to be, and I'm not seeing it.
Yeah, let's see if we can look it up here.
I'm not seeing it. So if he ends up being the highest paid left tackle, I would be so surprised. dude is old in NFL years, but whatever. Holdout is over. I'm still not going to retract my statement from earlier today about how this stuff can affect your team. You've missed an entire training camp. Ayuk missed an entire training camp. I think that causes rifts in a locker room. I do not expect the 49ers to be a thorn in our side at all this year. I think that, they'll probably have a good season, but I think the Lions are just on a different trajectory because it's different in Motown. This is the brand new Detroit Lions, and that's what I'm going to end with today. It's the march to the Super Bowl, and tomorrow is the pregame breakdown. So join me here at 6 p.m. We'll be doing the pregame breakdown together. We're going to lay it all out on the line and figure out how these Lions are going to beat the Rams here in week 1. And then we'll be back here tomorrow morning for the Rise and Grind Morning Show. And, of course, Thursday night begins the Fantasy Football Tonight show with Jared. And that'll be a great show every week. And then that's going to walk back to Wednesday nights so that we can kind of get you the information before your Thursday day lineups. So that's it for the Rise and Grind Morning Show. We will see you guys back here at 8 a.m. tomorrow morning. Have a great day, everyone. Go Detroit Lions. Go One Pride. We'll see you in the morning.
Adam Schefter at ESPN says there's 275,000 people.
Well, that was some party in downtown Detroit. 775,000 people, shattering the NFL draft attendance record.
This is the future.
Oh, great.
Evolution. This is the future.
Oh, great.